coming here tonight to Campbelltown Australs for the Break Night party and the 10-year celebration party. It is still a thrill to be able to say Campbelltown Australs. Yeah! I don't think we'll ever get older, there'll be like Malaysia, Barrie, Otago, Quastrals, Campbelltown. And it is so good that you can all be here tonight to celebrate with us the Break Night and also the 10 years of Western Sydney. So UWS Debating was the brainchild of Luke Ryan and Mitch Purser, two second-year med students at UWS Campbelltown down the road, who in 2012 had the very sensible realisation that no university can be taken seriously without a debating society, which is something I still think stands true today. I thought Luke was meant to be here tonight, but he unfortunately isn't, so the bit where I say here, shout out to Luke, doesn't make as much sense anymore. Yeah. He's probably off saving lives somewhere. So Mitch and Luke spoke to the uni and they got the club set up and the class had posters everywhere across UWS Campbelltown. And on a personal note, I think seeing that poster outside the library has changed my life in more ways than I can conceive of or count. And it's put me on a direction that I do not regret in any sense of the word. Because I was lost the first semester of uni, didn't know what I was doing, I hated it. But debating helped me find that place in university and it's let me here to be with all of you tonight. And so on July 19, 2012, the UWS Debating Society had its first ever internals, and now we recognise that as the birthday of the UWS Debating Society. Fast forward 10 years and a rebrand later, the Western Sydney Debating Union is still here, still alive, and its alumni are now running the Australasian Debating Championships. I think it's pretty impressive for a little club that started in the back of Campbelltown. Looking back over the last 10 years, putting the slideshow and all that together, there is a lot I think to be proud of for this little club. I can't remember who first coined this, but someone once described us as the little society that could. And I think that really that's still true for Western Sydney. Because the unique geography of UWS presented some challenges to running a debating society, namely having about 14 different campuses and approximately 0 student life on campus. So at our height, we were running internals 4 nights a week at 4 different campuses, Campbelltown, Parramatta, Penrith and Liverpool. And we were running school stays at all those campuses 1 to 2 times a year. And we had, and every spare cent we could drain from the uni, we were absolutely taking to try and go to comps. And I think Jesse roped a lot of money out of the uni at one point. It was genuinely insane to look back at how much we got done despite those constraints. And with a little bit of help from the UWS Roman Society, if anyone wants that story, ask Jesse about it later. How did we manage that though? I think we managed it for 2 factors, some structural reasons. One, for a while there, we actually had a university that supported us. So there's a core group of staff at UWS Connect who genuinely wanted the clubs to succeed at the uni and put a lot of effort and support into that. That was people like Brendan, Joe, Nick and Tanya for those who got to know them. Unfortunately, cheers Brendan. Unfortunately, the system broke and those people got forced out and disillusioned. And that resulted in the scenario where you no longer really supported student clubs. I think the best example of that is when we were bidding to host Easters in 2019. And the day before the vote, the uni's like, hey, we gave you these room bookings, but there's now a paying customer who wants those room bookings on the same day, so we're pulling your bookings. And we had to concede the vote the day before. And for an ocean governance conference, because you know, Parramatta campus, famously close to the ocean. And I think the WSU now is far worse for the decisions they've made around that. And that's partially why this is an unofficial night, because they're not invited. But more importantly, we were extremely lucky to have a group of committed people who loved debating and believed in the mission that we were undertaking that made this club work for the years that it did. Some of those luminaries are here tonight. People like Jesse, Johnny, Gavin, Scott and Fett were here, but they might be at the bar. And a lot of other people who unfortunately couldn't be here tonight. And a lot of people never saw success in the debating field, but that wasn't what it was about for us at Western Sydney. It was about the changes we made in people's lives and the voice that we were able to give people. And we got to go everywhere to find that point. We got to go from Chennai Worlds to Bali Australs, so we saw the true highs and lows of international debating. And I like to think we made a memorable mark on both those circuits, both domestically and internationally as a society, especially once the Europeans stopped thinking at UWS was the University of West Scotland. And the start of UWS debating also coincided with, I think, a bit of a shift in the Australasian, the Australian debating community. We saw the rise of the small 4 and an explosion of minis. And I think we were right in the muck of that during our heyday. Every year we ran a comp at Campbelltown, the UWS Open, and every year we ran a BP comp at Parramatta called British Parramatta. BP. The joke still lands. But at Western Sydney, winning was a bonus, it wasn't what we were about. Our purpose was to help people find a voice. And particularly in Southwest Sydney, debating is not a thing. Schools don't do it, the kids don't do it, and even the kids who do it don't have anywhere near the access that a lot of us do. They do 3 to 4 debates a year. I think I did 5 debates in high school over my time. Debating at uni helped them find someone else has been to a small debating area. But it's clubs like ours that help them find that voice. And I saw firsthand some of the changes it made for people to be able to understand the power of being able to argue, of constructing thoughts, the confidence it gave them in university and in life, and that was truly life-changing for them and for us. And I think it's humbling, especially on nights like this, where we gather to celebrate the highs and successes this activity can provide, to also remember the core purpose of what this activity is, to build confidence, to find a voice, and to have fun while we do it. And that was what we were able to do at Western Sydney. All that said, success did come to WSDU. Inside the university, we used to have a clean sweep of club awards. Every year we win multiple titles for best club on campus, best club at East Pacific campus, best event, best club leader. Was it because there were no other clubs, or was it because we were the best? I think it's the latter. And we also saw some success in the debating field too, and I want to touch on 2 core examples tonight. The first was the Targo Australs in 2014. I know some of you were like school captain back then in year 6, but you know, we had this judge called Winnie Jobaputra. We don't know if many of you got too much need to meet, but Winnie was absolutely crushing it on the draw. So first Australs, first time judging an Australs format tournament, and all of a sudden we had the realization that when she started paneling DCAs and CAs, that something was going to happen that break night. So we held an emergency meeting and continued to figure out what is the Western Sydney break chant going to be. So we didn't have one yet. And we worked it out. It was Western Sydney, clap, 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 Western Sydney, clap, clap, clap. And I'll never forget that break night, because winning starts with a W, break in alphabetical order. We had to wait till all the way to the end of the break, waiting for this moment. And finally, Maddie Schultz reads out Winnie Jobaputra. And the world goes wild. Everyone at the auditorium is chanting Western Sydney. And it was honestly incredible to see that, you know, we could do that. Because Winnie also, public school in Western Sydney, not much high school debating, but then was suddenly judging the finals of the Australasian Championships. And the second one involves a judge as well. That was Tamana Abdi, who at Women's in 2019 won the Liz Gray Memorial Award for Best Novice Judge. Now Liz herself was a great personal friend and a great friend of the University Debating Society, and her loss still, I think, weighs heavy upon us. And to see a Western Sydney judge, especially someone as kind and as inspirational as Tamana, who was looked up to by everybody, was truly an incredible moment for Western Sydney, and one that I think was very special. And there's another example of things we can do in Western Sydney, and that I hope we continue to do into the future. Now, I could paddle on here for a lot longer. Thankfully, no one's got the bells out timing me. But I am running out of time. It is break night, and the band presumably wants some quiet to play in the background. So I will start to wrap up. Firstly, a massive thank you to everyone who's able to come tonight, both friends and members, old and new. And a massive thank you to Barrie, who helped us out by setting this night up when we were still stuck finalising the break back at my house. One last thing. And especially I want to give a big shout out and thank you to Peter. So another incredible incredible alumni of the WSDU, one of the best tappers going around globally, and we could not have run this Australs without her. And I'm so glad we put on this bid in Campbelltown, and I had another person from Campbelltown to do it with. So thank you so much. It's hard to tell what the future is. The pandemic wasn't kind to the WSDU. And I hope this speech is more of a G-up than it is a eulogy. But whatever happens, I am proud of what we did at Western Sydney, with our huge number of internals and our massive school stays and the lives that we impacted. I'm proud that back in the day I had the opportunity to wear the logo on the shirt, and then in 2019 I got to do it one last time at Ascension in Bangladesh with Ismail Hawk, becoming the first WSDU team in history to beat Oxford and to make the semis of the major international tournament. That was the first time Western Sydney did it, but I hope it will not be the last. To conclude, could you all please charge your glasses and join me in toasting 10 years of the Western Sydney Debating Union. The WSDU! We'll be back with the break shortly.